We are doing our journey with the 12 steps, of course. And this one here upsets me. And this is about a word that is very difficult for some of us. Some of y'all probably can do it easy, but for some of us, Paul says there's a war going in the members of my body. And there are certain things that I can shave off, and I have no problem with those things. But the 8th step is made a list of persons we have harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. That's a very difficult thing. Because, you know, sometimes you want to hold on to just a little bit. But I have learned through reading scriptures that blocks me, not them. And so I'm going to come from the commentary first. Let's do the commentary first. Because I want you to get this. A lot of people won't make it because of this right here. Non-forgiveness will block your future. Period. It will tear up relationships. Yes, it will. And, you know, there's some things people, well, I've heard people say, well, I'm just upset, and I'll take this to my grave. But see, what you don't know is it's going to take you further than your grave, according to the scriptures. Let's do the commentary. Let's learn something today, okay?
All right, the commentary starts off with true forgiveness is an essential part of any recovery program.
So what is it called? True forgiveness. Now, I've done a little forgiveness, but true forgiveness means lay it all on the line. True forgiveness. To be really truthful. Have you ever told, some of you can say, man, this sounds like it does. Have you ever told somebody that you forgive them and didn't mean it? Well, true forgiveness means you mean it in your heart. Okay? True forgiveness would be called heart forgiveness. All right?
Why don't we just talk about forgiveness a little more? Is a conscious, deliberate decision to release feelings of resentment or vengeance toward a person or group who has harmed you.
To release that? To release that to somebody that's harmed you. Man, that is hard. I mean, it's somebody that's harmed me, and I'm asking them to forgive. That is hard stuff to do. Right? Do you understand what I'm saying? And listen to the rest of this. This is hard for me. All right? Because I just want, just get that hard. I forgive them, but just have to get a punch in. A word, something. Because in my head, if I do that, they're going free. All right?
And you are to do this regardless of whether they actually deserve your forgiveness.
Woo! And you can do this whether they deserve it or not. In other words, it's not you choosing what another person deserves. Because I tell people all the time, they say, how you doing, Brother Johnny? How you doing, Johnny? Better than I deserve. Right? So I don't want God to give me what I deserve. Then he's telling me whether these people deserve it or not, I need to forgive those that have injured me in some kind of way. All right?
And forgiveness summed up is letting go of past grudges or lingering anger.
It means letting go of past grudges or lingering anger. You see, it's very difficult for someone, I'm just talking about me because I know me, right? I have a mind that can, someone said once, Brother Johnny, they call him, Brother Johnny can forget what he ate at noon, but he can tell you what you done to him 30 years ago. Now, I'm not the person in it. You understand it like that? Are y'all with what I'm trying to get you to do? There are some people sitting with each other right now need to get this message, or it's going to crash your marriage, it's going to crash your relationships. If you're holding on to something that's killing you. You know, have you ever been angry with someone? They have no idea you're angry with them. You're the one that's all upset. They ain't upset. Yeah, it's killing you, not them, right? That's why he says this, okay? I'm going really slow with this one because when I read this, it just slapped me all over the place. All right?
All right, again with the commentary. commentary, true forgiveness is an essential part of any recovery program. We often have difficulty getting past our anger and bitterness.
It's very difficult to get past your anger and what?
Bitterness.
And bitterness. We can hold anger and bitterness longer than we can hold love. And I've told you all before, my mother had anger, and my biological mother had anger and bitterness with her sister, because my mother's mother died when she was 2. And her sister never wanted children. But being the oldest sister, you know what happens. She had to raise the kids, and so she was a little abusive, and my mother hung on to that to her grave. And I've told you all that I've called my mother sometimes a woman of sorrow. Because all of the stuff that she went through, she could never shake that. Saved, going to heaven, but could not shake that. You understand what I'm saying? Do y'all really get where I'm coming from? Now, that's a long time to live. That's a long time to live. She's 8 years old when she passed away, still holding on to something that happened when she was a teenager. All right.
However, asking God's forgiveness for our personal shortcomings and sins is hypocritical unless we are willing to forgive others.
So how can I not forgive others and then want to go and ask God to forgive me? Does anybody understand what I'm talking about? You see, I got a list of stuff that he could have held against me. Right? Right? But I don't want to forgive other folks what they done for me, but I want God to forgive me for taking his name in vain. I've done that. I'm the one that's cussing here. I know that. For taking his name in vain, for being disobedient to him. But I want him to forgive me the way I've treated my wife, the way I've done to my kids, or other people. God, you please forgive me for all those things I've done. But I don't want to give nobody for some of the things they've done to me. Oh, y'all understand where I'm coming from? All right?
We forfeit forgiveness from God by denying forgiveness to others.
So when we're forfeiting, what would you want to do that for? You say, God, I would rather suffer in anger than forgive this person. So who's held you in hostage? You see, you got to really love somebody to go to jail for them. You see, I would have to really love somebody to go to jail. Most folks are going to jail for somebody they hate. That's crazy. Are y'all getting what I'm coming from? They're putting you in prison, holding you hostage because you will not forgive them, so God is walking away from you. But that's biblical. You see, so listen to this, I'm going to make it very clear to you. Right. Who in your life is so important that you would go to hell for? You making them that important that you would tear your relationship up with God is not as important as holding on to something that somebody done to you. You think about that. All right, here we go.
And if we do this, it is not only selfish, but also self-destructive. It's
self-destructive because then, you see, you wind up getting in a relationship, taking that relationship out on somebody else. You see, somebody else winds up paying for something they didn't do. Because you held on to something that somebody else did. Did you understand? There's a lot of abuse that goes on in relationships, in marriages, and in families because someone was still angry what somebody else done to them. They took it out on their wife or their husband or their children. Come on. You understand what I'm talking about? What are we doing here? All right? So, if you ever been in love with somebody, there's a song, I think, I can't think of it, Noel Jones, I think it's Noel Jones says, and I'm paying for something I didn't do. It's a love song. You see, how many people in relationships are paying for something that they didn't do, but they love that person, but that person said they loved them, but they couldn't break the shackles of the pain that somebody else cast upon them in another relationship. I know I'm teaching them. You understand what I'm saying? You see, that's why would you do that? Why would children be abused in a home? Well, because you mad at the way your parents and what they done to you. That doesn't matter. It goes on every day. Are y'all with me? All right.
Listing all the people we have harmed will probably trigger a natural defensiveness.
See, if I start thinking about the people, what? This harmed me, or or I've harmed that's going to trigger something. All right, here we go.
With each name we write down, another mental list may begin to form. A list of the wrongs that have been done to us.
Because every time I think about forgiving somebody, then I can think about somebody who's done something to me. And it gets bigger and bigger. And so that war goes on in my spirit. You see? Because, yes, I did that to her, but it wasn't as bad as what so-and-so done to me. Come on here. You see what I'm saying? Because it'll trigger stuff out, so you have to be careful. All right?
So the question is, how can we deal with the resentment we hold toward others so we can move toward making amends?
You can't hold on to resentment of somebody's done to you and be free to live in Christ. You can't do it. So, you understand? You see, this is why some folks, I hope I ain't talking to you, I could be, you can't, your wife, your husband, or whoever you're in a relationship with has only got a part-time lover. Because the other part of you is dead in sin and hate and anger and this because you haven't forgiven. So you can't love 100%. Because 50% of your love is all you can give, because the other percent is somebody who's hurt you way back when. All right. And break it. Y'all look at it like you didn't. You be like alfalfa. You know the three, what they call them, little rascals? And his little girl broke up with him. Y'all heard me before. He said, I'll never love again. I'm through with love to the end. Yeah, right. Because this little girl hurt him. And some people, yes, I've heard it in counseling sessions. Well, I just can't trust anybody. Are you kidding me? No, you can't trust yourself who you put in your life. You're the one that put that person there. God didn't put that person in, right? But you can trust somebody. But you will never trust that somebody and allow that somebody to come in your life, because a lot of people don't want 50% of you. Now, I'm like this here. I don't know about y'all. I don't want Gwen loving me in pieces. Because the other piece is over here somewhere. If she was 15 or 16 or 30 or whatever it was. You see? Are y'all with me? Yes. All right.
Now it tells us to take a look at all that God has forgiven us. It makes sense to choose to forgive others.
Yeah. If you take all the things that God has asked you to forgive, God, and I don't know a whole lot of that repentance and asking God. And then now I'm ashamed and I ain't going to forgive this person. Now, I want somebody, if you haven't done it, I really want you to stand, because I want to see what those people look like. If there's somebody in here who's never hurt anybody, please stand up, because I want to know what them kind of folks look like. Okay, we good? We good. Everybody sitting down. So you good, right? All right, here we go.
And if we choose to forgive others, this will also free us from the torture of festering resentment.
See, some people fester resentment. It's your baby. Okay? If you choose to read that again.
This will free us from the torture of festering resentment.
See, in other words, some folks has already got, they don't have to get pregnant to have a baby. They nourish a baby resentment. Come on here. That's mom stuff. Yeah, okay. All right.
And the last part of the commentary says, we can't change what others have done to us, but we can write off their debts and become willing to make amends.
We can make amends. You can't change what comes together, but we can write that off and make amends. Who does that free up? Frees us up. All right, so this is what this is all about. It's making amends. We made up a list of person we have harmed, and we come willing, yes, to make amends with them all. Now here's what gets me is that all of y'all have done this. How many people have said the Lord's Prayer? Yes. Raise your hand. How many people said the Lord's Prayer? Okay. All right. Okay.
All right, so we'll read from Matthew 6, and we're going to do verse 12, 14, and 15.
That's a part of the Lord's Prayer.
Forgive us our debts, as we also have forgiven our debtors.
Were you just talking? Were you just talking or was you praying? If you're praying truthfully, you got to do what? So he'll forgive. This is Jesus in the prayer, Jesus Christ gave him. He said, wait a minute. Don't get down on your knees asking God to forgive you. You need to take and do some forgiveness to other folks. And it's hard, but it'll free you. All right?
And from the Amplified Version, it also says, letting go of both the wrong and the resentment.
You got to let go against the wrong and what? And resentment. See, you can dismantle Satan. You can dismantle pain when you free it out of your life. When it no longer has a place to live in your spirit. You understand? Yes. Don't give it a place to live in your spirit. Resentment gives pain a place to live in your spirit. That's just how that works. All right? And you know something? And then folk done went on about their business. And you still living with their pain. Got to get rid of it. All right?
In verse 14, it tells us, if you forgive other people when they sin against you, your heavenly Father will also forgive you.
That's how it works. It got easy for me to do that when I started looking at my resume. All right.
It tells us, if you do not forgive others their sins, your Father will not forgive your sins.
So, what do you want? You want God to turn his back on you so that you can face them folks? Or you want to forgive them, let them go, turn your back, and have true freedom? Guess what? Say what, Pastor? The choice is yours. The choice is yours. All right?
And the Message puts it this way. In prayer, there is a connection between what God does and what you do.
There's a connection between what God does and what you do. You got to do something yourself to get there. All right?
You can't get forgiveness from God, for instance, without also forgiving others.
That's just how it is. I want you to be free in here. I want y'all to get, you praying for me? Yeah. Your prayer ain't getting heard unless you done take care of this. You see, because Sister Cole, some folks ain't praying, they just talking. Because praying means I got God's ear. What he's really saying is here, unless you forgive those that's done something against you, I can't hear you. All right?
He also says if you refuse to do your part, you cut yourself off from God's part.
So if I refuse to forgive folks that's done things against me, I'm cutting off God's part. Is it worth it? Is it worth it? Now, I'm not a psychologist, but some people need to go see one and find out what's causing them to keep babysitting that resentment. Come on, dear, you need to go. Somebody should tell you what you need to pray for, what you need to forgive somebody for. I'm serious, because I want to pray in church that God hears. All right?
We're going to read again from the Amplified Version.
You see, I got a whole bunch of there so you won't forget it. Because I want some folks in there praying for me that God hears. I want some of you being set free. Okay? That God will bless you. Now, I want to say this, okay? I had a great week. Okay, great week. My son, Anthony, is, he's Catholic, a good, solid Catholic young man. Okay? And he called me Monday or Tuesday, and he was upset because he couldn't get the message on his phone. So we thought we'd done something wrong. I had no idea that he was even listening. It made me feel, it touched my spirit, that what he was doing. And then the part of that, he was going on a job interview, and we kept talking, and I prayed for him. He called me back the next day, got the job with more money than he was asking for. All right? Amen. I got another call. I'm getting the days mixed up on Wednesday. I think it was Wednesday. You all know Elizabeth Prastein. She's not here a lot of times. She works as a nurse. You all know that. And she works at the federal hospital. And she wants to get into more of the trauma thing. And so she put an application for Truman. And they turned her down. And then called her back and gave her a job. then I get a call from somebody talking about, I was listening to the head coach of Central High School who did another defense. Right? So prayers are being answered in here. And I'm telling you all this to say this here. I had to give up all that stuff so I could get to the point I get on my knees and pray and know God's hearing me because I don't have no business of this anyway. You understand what I'm saying? And there was another one, I can't think of what it was, but it was so blessed I didn't know what to do. Right? And then they didn't know this. Come on, say, come on, Pastor. They didn't know that I ate something wrong and was really, really sick Saturday. Yeah, really sick Saturday. And I was a little upset because I told Sister Gwen, I said, no, some of y'all will have to be ready because I don't know if I'll be there, be able to do the message on Sunday. Okay? And then I told her some other things also, but she needed to get up here. I said, you got more knowledge than I have. I have wisdom, but I ain't got your knowledge. And so it was a good opportunity to slide that in. So the thing I read is, and I rested all day, and I woke up this morning like ain't nothing wrong. This works. Quit allowing your past and your past pains and hurt to rob you out of your future. You don't understand what I'm talking about? Get rid of what your sister done to you, your brother done to you, your mother done to you. You need to get rid of that. Let me tell you something. Every time you think about them, they're hurting you. You bring that alive again. You don't want to bring it. I know one of the toughest things that has to be tough. When the counselor sat down and talked to somebody who's been raped or molested and tell them to let that go. That has to be tough. But what the counselors are trying to tell you is because every time you put it in your mind and your spirit, the same thing happens to you again. You experience the same pain, and we're trying to free you of all that. Everybody in the sound of my voice, I want you healed when you walk out of here today. The Holy Ghost will heal you when you walk out of here. All right? But you got to do right. You got to do your part. All right? I would, now, wait a minute now. You get up here with me. I would like to live in a world where you didn't need any counselors. No medication. Come on, hear what I'm saying about it. No counseling at all. Pastors, nobody. You wouldn't need any of that. Well, that's not going to happen. All right, so there has to be a process. And then we go through the process, and if we truly go through the process and have it in our heart, we can say for the counselors and the pastors and whoever, and they can take us through our journey, and when we get to the end of that, then we can dismiss all that. But sometimes you got to blow it out. At least talk it out. To get it out. No matter how you get it, just get it out. All right? And you're at least tired. And there's some people in here, you're still wearing the shackles of your past. You break that loose. All right? I have no clue.
All right, so verse 14 of the Amplified Version says, "For if you forgive others their trespasses, their reckless and willful sins."
So some people were reckless and they willfully sinned us.
That's right.
They knew what they were doing.
That's right. That's right.
And it says reckless, right? And willingly hurt us.
Yes.
Okay?
Your heavenly Father will also forgive you.
Your heavenly Father will forgive you of whatever you've done. Okay?
But if you do not forgive others, nurturing
What?
your hurt and anger.
Why are you nurturing? I can't even say it. Your hurt and your anger. It's like your new baby. Keep feeding it. And then when you keep feeding it, it gets healthier.
Right.
And pretty soon it gets so big you can't get rid of it. Quit nursing it. We're not going to do that. And some of you look at me, don't get upset at me. I ain't the one that done it to you. I'm the one to tell you how to get out of that. All right? I guarantee you in there ain't nobody in here that ain't been hurt by somebody they love. And there ain't nobody in here that ain't hurt somebody they love, the person they're with. We're all the same up in here. But we're not going to nurture that anymore. I want you to walk freely. Now sure, some of you all went through some tough stuff, because I know some of your stories. I know some of your situations and circumstances. But you don't have to live and nurse that pain anymore, that hurt anymore. Forgive them and let it go. And I'm going to tell you a little something. Say, what, Pastor? When you do that, then they get in God's hands. Then He takes care of it. When you do that, in God's hands. I forgive them, God, and you do what you gotta do. All right.
So nurturing your hurt and anger interferes with your relationship with God.
It was. It
Interferes.
interferes. Why would you allow that to interfere with your relationship with God? Somebody explain that to me. It makes no sense to me. If you really love God, you really in a real relationship with Him, why would you want somebody else to come in between you and Him and the love you have for God? Well, let's say, break it down to the pastor. If you are in a relationship, wouldn't you be upset if that person was talking about they used to be? And every time you done something, they call you his or her name? They give you a response. I get that. Wouldn't you get upset with that? Right? And every time they saw a picture, you get upset. That's amen. Well, why do you think God feels when He wants to free you, and He wants you to live a life of freedom, and He wants to give you the goodness of the Lord, right? And you got somebody in between you and Him. That makes no sense. And some of you in here in this church have doing that right now. The reason that God hasn't blessed you the way you should be blessed is because He ain't going to be your part-time lover. Right? He is not going to allow somebody to step in between you and Him. He either wants it to be Him or them. Isn't that right? If something all do on a physical, then you would. First thing you say now, honey, you need to make a choice. You gonna be with her or you gonna be with me? You gonna be with him or you gonna be with, you know what I'm saying? Well, God is saying the same thing. You go ahead and nourish your anger, your hate, and your resentment, but you can't have a relationship with me and bring that into my space. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm saying to you is, don't bring all that stuff into God's space. How many of y'all said, well, maybe God not said, but I said to her, when somebody gets in there, don't get in the space. You see, I don't like everybody in my space. You all understand what I'm saying? Well, God is the same way. He said, now, don't let that get in my space. Because He's kind of like me in this area. If you want in the space, okay, you go ahead and deal with that. You better deal with what you love. That's more important for you to hate and to hold resentment than your love for me. Go ahead and nurse it. All right. This is making me sweat up here.
So again, if you do not forgive others, then your Father will not forgive your trespasses.
If you don't forgive others, then your Father will not forgive your trespasses. You know, I can be one of these people that be angry because I never met my Father. From what I heard about him, the best thing that ever happened is not meet me. Come on in. The best thing that ever happened to me was to not meet Johnny Chesterfield Sr. I'm a king. Best thing that happened. Well, it didn't come to me, folks, until I got saved and got filled with the Holy Spirit, and the Holy Spirit revealed to me the best thing that happened was not met him. You see? Because I wouldn't be probably standing here. Okay, I'm the only one in here that, didn't have a father in the house, I'm quite sure.
All right, turn to Matthew 18.
And I want to add that, what am I at, Matthew 18? You taking care of it? Good thing I got these good people up here, because I have no clue I'm at the time. All right.
All right, so starting at verse 23.
All right, and I'm going to talk about it. Jesus was telling us about what the kingdom of heaven is like, because I don't want to take too much more of your time. Jesus was telling us what the kingdom of heaven was like. And he was trying to get the people to understand in this parable, say parable, in this parable what the kingdom of heaven was like. And he was trying to let them understand that how sometimes some people are so selfish. They want to free themselves, but they want to keep other people enslaved. Last week we done when the prophet told David, "Thou art the man." But some people want they want God's blessings, okay, but they don't want to bless others. So here we go with the parable.
Therefore, the kingdom of heaven is like a king who wanted to settle accounts with his servants. As he began the settlement, a man who owed him 10,000 bags of gold was brought to him. Since he was not able to pay, the master ordered that he and his wife and his children and all that he had to be sold to be repaid the debt.
And I'm letting her realize I'm staying on. So this guy only owed him something. and he couldn't pay it. He wanted to take it out on his whole family. He's in a bad situation. You know, he owed, but he couldn't pay the debt. All right? Keep going, please.
Since he was not able to pay, the master ordered that he and his wife and his children all be sold to repay the
He
debt.
said, you can't pay this. I'm going to sell your wife and your children because I want my money. You owe me. You see, you shouldn't have borrowed that if you couldn't pay it back. Well, please don't. Go ahead.
So the servant fell on his knees before him. Be patient with me, he begged, and I will pay back everything.
He fell on his knees and fell out crying, please don't do that. Don't sell my children and my wife and take everything. Just give me a chance and I'll pay it all back. That makes sense. You see, begging, crying, bad situation, got his family in this bad situation. Please don't do that. Okay?
So the servant's master took pity on him and canceled the debt and let him go.
And because he cried and begged, the master said, his heart must be really bad. I can't do this guy. He must really love his family. He's a man, and he's got down like a child, and he's cried, and he's repented, and he's got down, and he's just asked me to do this. I know the man owes me, but my heart can't hurt that family and the whole thing, because he seems to be so sincere. Okay, here we go.
But when the servant went out, he found one of his fellow servants who owed him 100 silver coins. He grabbed it.
He went out and found somebody owed him something, right? You know I'm gonna get you. You know that. I know that. Go ahead.
So he grabbed him and began to choke him.
So he can really choke somebody.
That's right.
Just got off his knees, begging God to forgive him of all his sins, right? And went home and choked one of the wife and kids. Because somebody done something wrong. Called Uncle up and cussed him out, and somebody else done something, right? But let's see what's going on.
His fellow servant fell to his knees and begged him.
So the fellow servant done the same thing that he done. Got on his knees and begged him. Surely that's going to bring back to his remembrance of the situation and the circumstance he was in. We talk about forgiveness because God is the master forgave him. Surely he's got the same type of attitude for somebody that's done something to them. You think? All right.
But after the fellow servant pleaded and begged, he refused.
What?
He refused.
Oh, he refused him.
Yes.
Oh, then you have done all this crime. Can I do it, Isaac? The guy in church, he came up to the altar and slinging snot and tears coming out your eyes. I'm over here. Oh yeah, I'm here crying and got folks laying hands on you and praying and asking God to forgive you for being what you are. Right? And we up here thinking you sincere. Y'all know what I'm talking about? We up here thinking you sincere. Pastor's up there sprinkling water all this stuff. Wait a minute. Pastor's getting his all out. He's anointing all out. And come on here. And he's anointing your head with oil. Right? And asking God to forgive him of his sins. He's came and you know what I'm saying. All right, here we go. But now you in that same situation, and guess what?
So not
You want
only
to choke somebody. Huh? Go ahead. You know that man, you want to choke somebody. All right, here we go.
So not only did he refuse, he went off and had the man thrown into prison.
So he went out and had man thrown into prison. That's so us. Right. We want God to forgive us. When we get this from the altar, how many folk leave in and act the fool when they get out? Yeah. You want God to forgive the husband, but the husband don't want to forgive the wife. The wife wants God to forgive her. She don't want to forgive the husband. Or any relationship, friendship, brother, sister. Right? Okay.
So other had happened, and they were outraged and went and told the master everything that had happened.
But somebody saw it. Somebody saw it. They went and told the master what happened. All right?
So the master called the servant in and says, "You wicked servant."
Well, somebody's in charge and knows what's going on. All right?
And he says, "I canceled all the debt of yours because you begged me to. Shouldn't you have had mercy on your fellow servant just as I had on you?"
Come on, church. Amen. You know what's wrong with the church today? I ain't talking about Christ, I'm talking about the body of Christ. We need to read this. We need to read this. If we want to get in here and get all sanctified and all that kind of stuff, and then have to fool with other folk. You see, now some of you in here, you can be free today. Get off your sister, she was wrong. Get off your brother, he was wrong. Get off your parents, they were wrong. Get off your employee or employer, they were wrong. But quit allowing them to hold you hostage. Get off your, and we done some stuff. Quit allowing yourself. Sometimes you have to forgive yourself. You say, ask forgiveness. God forgive you, forgive yourself, and go on with your life. Because God wouldn't have you doing this message unless somebody is going through that. What are you waiting on? Let it go.
And in verse 34, in anger, the master handed him over to the jailers to be tortured until he should pay back all he owed.
Now, you want God to give you what you deserve? Then you better let some folk go. It's easier to forgive them folk than for him to give you what you deserve. I had to learn that. Let me tell you something. I wasn't a great husband when we first got married. All right? I'm talking about me, y'all know what I'm saying, man? You would think that I was the best husband in the world now. Because I had to ask for some God to do that. Wait a minute. Because the way I would treat Gwen was hindering me from God blessing me from the journey he wanted me to be on. All right, I've been married 48 years, so y'all know I've been a fool so many years, all right? Come on, amen. I'm saying amen, just about me. You see, I had to get that thing in check. If I had never got that in check, I wouldn't be standing here. Come on, man. I wouldn't be living in the house I'm living in. Driving the cars I'm living in. Three-time cancer survivor. I wouldn't have been none of them things till I got that right. You see what I'm saying? And then I had to let some folk go who didn't even know that I was still thinking about them. Yes. So that I could walk in the freedom and have the blessings of Jesus Christ. That's how it works. All right, and somebody in here might be, somebody in here may need to go home and talk to somebody in the household and say, you know, I'm sorry. And men, we're worse at it. We hate to say, I am sorry. And sometimes we need to, and mean it no heart, I'm sorry. You know, I am sorry, because you're never going to get the blessings that God has for you until you get that right and let that other stuff go. Now, what's so important to you? Hold on to that and use your relationship with God, or get rid of that, get amends, go back and all that, and have a relationship with God. Now, I'm not boasting, but I have a better relationship with God now than I've ever had. You know, sometimes I have to wake up and think, man, am I dreaming? I'm living this good? All right. The road to getting there was making amends. People are hurt. Repent to God and let it go. All right? How can you be mad the way you grew up and take it out on somebody in your family? That's crazy. All right? Is this a good lesson? We'll do one more then, right?
All right, last this is how my Heavenly Father will treat each of you,
Woo.
unless you forgive your brother or sister from your heart.
You want to go to jail? Well, I'm saying jail make it nice. You just call it a lot of hell. Hold on to something that somebody done to you. Forgive them. It'll set you free. forgiveness, it'll set you free. You want to be free?
Yes.
Really want to be free? Do the homework.